You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is July 11th, 2018. With you today is myself, Carl, and the always wonderful Joel. Joel, can you hear everything that's happening outside my house right now?
Can hear nothing.
Okay, that is good, because there is a guy yelling. I believe there's a BMX show happening outside that you can hear. At some point, a concert might start outside my house. This is what I've lived with for the last week.
Yeah, well, I wish we could partake in that, but yeah, we can't hear anything.
Okay, well, unfortunately, nothing has been good enough that it excites me. So this is what you get for living across the street from the Calgary Stampede. Turns out, it is loud enough to hear inside your house.
There you go. Well, you should probably close the windows. That'll do it.
Windows closed, doors closed. It's all closed.
Can you even open your windows? Do you have windows that open?
I do, yeah. Yeah, I have 2 of them.
Wow. It's a lot of windows.
Yeah, both windows open. And a door. There's a door to outside, so there's 3 means to get fresh air in here.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I have enjoyed, as much as it is loud in here, and hopefully that you guys don't hear it. If there is any random noise, if there's any crowds cheering, if there's any announcers or music, that's why. You too can enjoy the sweet sounds of the Calgary Stampede. But I've been enjoying the Stampede so far, and one of the things that I greatly enjoy about the Stampede is festival food. Just like your average state fair food. For those who haven't been to the Calgary Stampede, it's essentially like a rodeo mixed with a state fair.
But smaller.
Yeah, I've never been to a state fair, so I don't know how big it is compared to this.
State fairs, not necessarily smaller, but not as crazy. State fairs, I've been to a couple state fairs in the States, way better than the Calgary Stampede.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, it's just crazier, because the food isn't as gimmicky. The food's really gimmicky at the Calgary Stampede. Yeah. That's what I find. So they try and whatever the new gimmick is, but and it's probably like that at state fairs as well, a little bit, but I didn't find it as much. But I don't know. I just find the people at I guess any state fair I've been to, it's more older people and less 18-year-olds.
Okay, right. Because this is a lot of, it literally everyone in the city, any type of people, any demographic will show up at the Calgary Stampede for whatever they're there for, whether it be rides, food, Western events, alcohol. That's a big draw for some. So everything can and will happen at the Calgary Stampede. And I think, a lot of people, obviously they had over 100,000 people there on Friday. I think 3 of them were you and your family? Yeah,
we went, but I'd say, I don't know if I guess everybody does go, but it's mainly it's a 16 to 25. That would be the main crowd, especially in the evening.
That's the big draw, yeah, for sure. Although today, for some reason, the train was full of middle-aged people. I don't know what exactly they were doing on their way down.
Who's the concert tonight? That'll tell. It's probably
Well, there was a concert on the west side of downtown, because for sure there was the Goo Goo Dolls. And,
that'll do it.
And Train were playing on the west side of downtown. So that for sure brought out the middle-aged crowd. But there was a lot of them going to the Saddle Dome area tonight. But yeah, lots of weird food this year. And as most state fairs are, they love to deep fry everything. Did you eat any of the Stampede Fair this year?
We had classic mini donuts.
Yep.
We had,
which is deep fried.
Yeah, we had curly fries.
Also deep fried.
Yeah, they weren't. I don't know. They were curly fries, but they were again gimmicky. They were Stampede barbecue flavored curly fries. They were just regular curly fries. They were good, but and then a snow cone.
Oh, nice. Good choice.
And lemonade. I love like the like fair food, fresh lemonade. It's always good.
So, did you see any of the new food at the Stampede? Any of like the hot ticket?
I saw the cricket grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah, so there's a cricket grilled cheese sandwich. I kind of want to, before we talk about hockey, we will get to hockey in due time, folks. Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast in summer, where we talk about things that aren't just hockey. And food, a big part of what we do here. So let's go through some of these. Tell me, like, maybe you chose not to try it, but if you would. Because for me, I did hit up, like, because they have the barbecue pit area. So I hit that up, had brisket, pulled pork, ribs. Good. Not great, but it was good. What else did I eat at Stampede? I had a hot dog from a place called Fat Dog. Can't go wrong there. First night of Stampede. This is how Stampede is 10 days long. Except it's actually like 10 and a half because they open it up the night beforehand. Stampede technically hadn't even started yet, and there was a lady passed out in front of Fat Dog. That poor individual would not be making it the entire 10 days of Stampede if you can't get through the first night.
It's true.
Yeah, you need to pace yourself, people. If you're going for the food aspect, pace yourselves, please. There were some ones that were on the weird side and some that were on the good side. So let's go through some of those. How do you feel about deep fried pickles?
Most people have deep fried pickles these days. You can find those anywhere.
Yeah. What about if you wrap that pickle around a hot dog?
Yeah, I've heard. It's the tornado with the tortilla, right?
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I would have tried that, but we didn't. But I'm okay with that. Like I've had. Like Chicago, isn't it Chicago style hot dogs that have pickles? Like,
yeah.
So that's normal.
Okay. What about the cricket? The cricket on the sandwich. Are you okay with like the gimmick of bugs on food?
Stupid.
It's tried.
You tried it?
A few years back, not the cricket, but a few years back they had like, what was it? There was crickets and something else on pizza.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad was like, let's try it. And, you know, if my dad wants to try it, I will never back down from a challenge within reason from my dad. So sure enough, we split. It's nothing. Like there's no flavor to it.
Yeah, because they're so like crisped up.
Yeah.
It's not like you're eating like live cricket. Live cricket probably tastes bad. But like this is like so dehydrated and crisp. You're just eating crispy protein that tastes like nothing.
Exactly. What about deep fried liquids? So like a drink that they've deep fried. So this year the new addition was wine and cheese deep fried. They've deep fried Coke has been a feature at the Stampede. Have you ever tried any of those? Because that never is something where I even like remotely think Coke should be deep fried.
But it's basically just like that, like syrup mixed in a batter and then deep fried.
Yeah.
Because I think I tried like deep fried fruit punch once.
Yeah.
It was basically a Timbit that tasted like it had fruit punch flavor in it. And I think that's what like deep fried Coke is basically a Timbit that tastes like Coke.
Just a Coke flavored donut hole.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great. I had deep fried cheesecake this week, delicious. I had something that I know Tiny Mike was very much interested in me having, which was the Oreo churro. That was good. Lots of good food. And I'm a big fan. Had some extra barbecue. I didn't have enough at Stampede. Went for some more barbecue. Found a place, Half Price Barbecue.
Nice. Did you try the squid on a stick?
No. I'm not a fan of, like, I like seafood, like fish, things like that. But, like, I don't have an issue, especially if I'm hot. Like, when I'm really hot and I'm eating something deep fried, I don't want it to be seafood.
This is fair. Oh, no, it's not fair. Because, like, I'd be totally down with, like a fish taco when it's hot out.
Would you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can get behind that. I don't know, squid doesn't seem like something that I...
cricket, but you're more appealed towards cricket than squid?
No, I would not...
calamari.
I would not go back for more of that, though. Like, I would not have that, and especially not that amount, right?
Yeah,
the amount that requires to match squid is a lot.
I had squid on a stick when I was in Taiwan. Very different than the squid on a stick at the Stampede. Like, because it was basic in Taiwan, it was like it wasn't breaded. At the Stampede, I guess it's breaded.
Yeah, as all deep fried food is at state fairs.
Yeah, the one that I had wasn't deep fried. It was just grilled. It was really good. It was like Taiwan style barbecue.
That sounds good.
Like I would have gone. I did go back because like we went back to the night market again, and I got it again because it was really good.
Smart, doubling down. Let's get into the show we have. We're going to be talking about a big extension handed out this week, some trade talk, debut our summer segment that we're going to be doing. Before we get into any of that, ATB Financial is the official bank of the Fourth Line Podcast and the Alberta Podcast Network, and I keep finding ATB everywhere. They have plastered themselves all over the University of Calgary.
I was like, it's because you live in Calgary, in Alberta. It's shocking.
It is shocking, but they continue to expand where they are and the people that they can serve. atb.com/listens. Head over there. You can find out what ATB can do for you, and they can find out what you're looking for. So head over there. atb.com/listens is the place to go. The big news of this week, there was a lot of talk over the weekend about the Erik Karlsson trade. We waited with bated breath. That quickly became less and less bated. Would that be the way to describe that? I actually don't know. Would you describe that as less bated breath?
I don't know because I was not in that. I kept on saying this wasn't happening.
Okay.
Yet.
So, Erik Karlsson, apparently, according to the Twitters and the social media and some people, I know a lot of, the Elliot Friedmans of the world. He was one who says, like, I have no idea where this rumor is coming from, which is when I stopped believing the rumor.
Yeah.
Usually if Elliot Friedman says something's not happening, it's not happening. I would say he's my most trusted source.
That or Drager.
Yeah.
It's probably Friedman, and then like a close second is Drager. And then there's like about 800 others, and then Bob McKenzie.
And then, like, far after him is Eklund and the guys over at Hockey Buzz.
I don't even know who those people are.
Some people still like to think that they're a trusted source for hockey rumors. They're not. So Erik Karlsson was rumored to be on the move, most likely to the Tampa Bay Lightning. However, that did not happen yet. Where do you think Erik Karlsson is, at this point in time, the best fit for? Because in all honesty, we have these rumors happening. There's a lot of talk about who is going where. Tampa Bay is a very difficult situation to fit Erik Karlsson in for a lot of reasons, but I know you've got some thoughts on that.
So, like, best fit, are we talking, like, hockey-wise? Are we talking for 1 year? Are we talking for a long-term extension?
I'm saying, which team should trade for Erik Karlsson? Which team are you like, okay, especially, let's try to focus on, like, the ones rumored. So there's, like, Dallas, there's Tampa, Vegas has been rumored.
Anyone should trade for him. Like, when you trade for the best defenseman, like, this is literally the best defenseman in the league. He fits on any of these teams.
So do you think that it's worth their time and effort to trade for him just for the 1 year? Any team out there that you should go and pay the price that it'll cost, whatever it ends up being, for 1 year?
Yes. Yes. That's like saying, like, is it worth having Connor McDavid for 1 year? Yes. Because, like literally, he instantly becomes your best defenseman. Like, that's the crazy thing is, like, so, like, the Lightning have Hedman, and they trade for Karlsson, and they're still trading for a better defenseman than what they have. Like,
yeah, which is impressive.
So I have broken this down, like, and I get that the Lightning keep on, like, getting these crazy, like, hometown state of Florida discounts, but there is no way that they can get Karlsson, sign him long term, and contend 3 years from now, like, without moving money, which I fully believe Steve Yzerman can do.
Right,
but they can't
every time in the past.
They can't do it without moving money because it's just like it was. I think I forget what I said. It's like there's like 8 players and $30 million in cap space in 3 years if they get Karlsson.
So right now they have 8 for the 2020-2021 season. Side note, that is very difficult to say. For the 2021 season, which would be 2 years into the future, they have 8 players signed currently with $27 million in cap space. So that would be to fill out a roster that you can even play with. You need 20. Say you would have to find a large amount of money because one of those players is their goaltender.
Yeah, so you would have to pay him, say, like 6, 7. Let's say 7.
Let's say 7 on the general. Yeah, 7.
Like, because like that's like the cap's going up. He's going to probably be considered the best, like top 3 goalie in the league if he continues to progress.
Yeah, that would not surprise me at all for sure. You're paying a 24-year-old, 25-year-old goalie.
And so, and that would be on the low side if he was a top 3 goalie. Like, if he was considered a top 3 goalie, 7 would be on the low side. But Yzerman continues to get guys on the low side. So let's say he gets 7. So now all of a sudden you've got $20 million. Oh wait, Karlsson wants $11 million. He has said he wants the Doughty deal. So maybe Tampa can get him to take less, but we have to assume that they can't because he has said that he wants the 11 and he deserves the 11.
Yep.
So now you have 10 guys. No, that'd be 11 guys signed or 10. That'd be 10 guys with. So you take another 18 off.
$9 million left.
It's not possible. So you have to move. They should not Yzerman has to be kicking himself about the Ryan McDonagh deal.
Because at the time we kind of I thought, and maybe we talked about it on the show, like. That, to me, signaled they're out of Erik Karlsson, right? You extend him when you know, all right, we're not getting somebody else. But when you're paying him 6.75, you've got, the Ryan Callahan deal comes off the books by then. Cool, you don't need to worry about moving him off. But Palat at 5.3, Tyler Johnson at 5. Like, these are deals that you just can't afford to have on the books. And sure, pay someone to take them off because here's the thing, Joel. When you have a core of Vasilevsky, Hedman, Karlsson, Stamkos, Kucherov, I don't really care who else you have beyond that. When that's your core 5-6 players, you can fill in a lot around them.
Yeah, you can. You start to feel a lot like Boston, though. Like you feel like it's just you need to win with your one line, and if you don't win with your one line, you're in a lot of trouble. Like that's kind of. I don't know. I do not want them to trade for Karlsson. I want Karlsson to go to the West as a Maple Leafs fan because I really don't want this super team sitting in the division that my team is in. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. I think Yzerman can probably make it work, but the numbers, it's just without moving somebody, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I don't know who that person is. Like everyone's like, well, just trade Alex Killorn. I don't want Alex Killorn. Who wants Alex Killorn on their team for that cap hit? He's an okay player, but you'd have to give up assets for someone to take his contract.
Yeah, and then what's interesting to me is so there's all this talk and there's unsubstantiated and substantiated rumors. There's one thing that surprises me is when was it, Joel? 2-3 weeks ago, the Ottawa Senators refused to trade Mike Hoffman within their division.
Yeah. And
got screwed in that deal. Now, did they realize that not trading within their division was a terrible idea that quickly?
Yeah. They did.
Say, that's what it is?
Oh, it's for sure that's what it is. They can't, you can't trade Karlsson not in the division and get less for him. I actually think they've made the decision that they're going to get the best deal, and they don't care who it's from. Because if you're trading Karlsson, you are saying we're not contending for 5 years. We already know they're not contending for 5 years, but they're at least admitting that. So outside of Tampa, though, I think the best, the team that I would, if I was the GM, I would figure out. I would figure out how to get him into Dallas. That's the move I would make. They've got, what's that guy's name? Miro Heiskanen? Quick, where's that guy from?
I'm going to go Finland.
I have no idea. Cap Friendly doesn't tell us those types of things.
We can. The Google will, though. Miro Heiskanen.
Oh, it is Finland. You're right.
Boom.
Did you know that?
No, but Heiskanen sounds real Finnish.
I don't know. Sure.
So yeah, that was the guy that they took 3rd overall last year.
Yeah, he's supposed to be really good. Trade him for Karlsson.
Seems like a good move. What I enjoy about all of this, very selfishly, is Dom Lushwinski, whose name I probably butchered, had a piece on The Athletic.
Sounds good to me.
All right, well, that's good. Had a piece on The Athletic about the odds of should the Senators give up this year or next year's first-round pick to my Colorado Avalanche. And the determining factor was if they kept Karlsson, they should keep next year's pick. So they should do what they were doing. There's a 50% chance that above 50% chance that next year's pick is better if they trade Karlsson. So I think it was like 53% chance it's better next year.
Yeah, because we talked. I think we talked about that.
Yeah. So I'm already watching Jack Hughes highlights, looking forward to the first overall pick next year for Matt Duchene, which seems like a steal of a deal.
Maybe. I don't. It's still only an 18% chance.
Still,
if they're the worst team.
Right. If they're the worst team, I don't think that stopped you from watching Austin Matthews highlights ahead of the Leafs lottery. I think it would just be interesting.
I definitely didn't this far out.
No, maybe not this far out. Okay. But I look forward to the possibility of paying attention to both a playoff race and a draft lottery and having a horse in both races. That's exciting to me.
Yeah. So where do you think he ends up? Like, of all these teams, so like Dallas, Vegas, Tampa, where do you think he ends up?
I think the team with the most drive to trade for him would be, like all of them, but I think Vegas would be very much in favor of that. They have so much cap flexibility that it works very well for them. They can pay him whatever he wants. And they have, if Ottawa is interested in just like a plethora of picks, Vegas has that. If you're doing this rebuild, which you are, obviously, you're already in it, the most assets that you can get, the better. And so the shotgun method of picks, I think, is something that I would be very interested. Just put all your money, the $11 million you would pay Karlsson, put that into scouting, get the best players into player development, build these players up, and you will be back in no time. Hopefully you can be back before you end up in Quebec City.
Your money's on Vegas. That's what you're saying.
That's where I think would be. To me, Tampa should.
Where does he go?
Where does he go?
That's not what's the best fit. Where do you think he ends up?
I think Tampa finds a way to do it. Unfortunately,
I'm not. I think it's going to be in the West. I think it's going to be Dallas. I just don't think Tampa, because like Tampa basically needs to decide if Ottawa is smart. They say, You want him? We need Sergachev and Point plus. And if Tampa's not willing to pay that, you walk away because you probably can't get anything better. You can probably get better things from other teams if they're not willing to give up those two.
Yeah, I think that's a good starting point, and certainly, Vegas their problem is their lack of prospects, right? Like they just don't have that prospect pool that every other team has.
Their lack of players that anyone else thinks is good, but yet somehow they win.
Also that, but every team's been drafting for years. They have one draft class, and they didn't even pick that high in it. So, not the nicest So that would be the only reason why I would steer away from the Vegas idea. But yeah, Dallas, a good fit there as well. Sticking with Tampa very quickly, Nikita Kucherov, making this situation even more difficult for the Senators. Not for the Senators, for the Lightning. He signed an extension, $9.5 million for 8 years. This is magic. You talked about the Stevie Y magic and getting people to sign for less. This is that.
Yeah, he should have made more. Like, I'm not surprised. It's actually, I don't think this complicates the Karlsson thing. I think it actually makes it clearer because they know how much Kucherov is going to make. Like, they know what that cap hit is, and it's about 1.5 less than what I think everyone kind of thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think you kind of assumed, but again, the no Florida state income tax strikes again, and we are sitting here with Nikita Kucherov making below market value.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's making good money. He's there for a long time. There's not a whole lot to say about it.
No, and that's. Do you think, again, because Stamkos signed, and I don't think that his signing affected the market. I also believe that the Kucherov signing won't really, because there's people who are saying that it'll start to drive down the value of other players, right? Like, we're looking at, Kucherov's a bit older, not a bit older, he's a few years older. But like you're looking at Marner signing as an example. I know everyone jokes of like, well, this thing happened. How does it impact the Leafs? But like, not just the Leafs, but everyone in general. Do you think that this deal will dictate market value for guys moving forward, or not really?
Not any more than it would. Like, it's yes, because it always does, but no, it's not like that this is cheaper and so everyone else is going to get cheaper deals. Like, I don't know, it does and it doesn't. Like, the guy, I don't know, it's weird. It doesn't, for those, because you're probably looking at like Matthews, Laine, those are the next kind of big ones coming up. But you're not, like, Kucherov is, his deal, he's 26 when he starts this deal, and like Matthews and Laine, like, they're 21 when their next deal starts. It's totally different. And Kucherov is, like, maybe not those two, but like when it comes like Marner or whoever else is like that, like second or third tier, like Kucherov is not in that tier at all. Like, Marner's not making anywhere close to Kucherov money.
No. And
like,
well, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, there's some people, obviously, the Leafs faithful, who think that he's worth the big money, but
no, he's not, and he's not going to get the big money. That's crazy talk.
I'm glad one of us thinks so. One other thing that I just found interesting, I rarely see something where like the yearly salary, usually it starts high and continues to drop. Mr. Kucherov has kept himself a big $12 million year right before the NHL lockout will happen. So obviously lots of signing bonus built into these brand new deals. But that is the case. He makes 12, drops down to 9, and then 12 coming back the next season. So lots of money coming in Nikita Kucherov in the next 3 years before the lockout. So that's good for him.
Yeah, not a ton of signing bonus though. Like, that was the one thing that that's the thing that interests me the most about deals, is like the signing bonus aspect of it. 'Cause like, I think players are getting smarter. And, well, not players, it's agents are getting smarter. They're understanding the system better. And I don't think, like, Kucherov will be fine, but I don't think he did as well as some, like, contracts out there will probably do.
Well, like, you compare it to the Tavares deal from last week, and less than, it was a 7-year deal, less than $7 million is salary. Right? Like,
yeah.
70 plus of his was signing bonus. Kucherov's, I think, is about 60% of his deal is signing bonus. So, yeah, a lot of people using that for these big money deals, so that they make it, lockout proof. You still get that big money.
That's the biggest thing. And it's also like, not that this matters for guys like Kucherov and Tavares, but like buyouts and trading, it puts more leverage on the player as opposed to the team in those types of situations.
Well, and here's something because of the Florida state tax thing, there was a guy on Twitter who has done taxes for an NHL player before, and he was kind of describing things. And one thing that he mentioned is the possibility that since he's not 100% sure, but it appears, because what happens is you play 41 games at home, 41 on the road. And so when you're on the road, you pay tax in the state and city that you played. And so 41 games are taxed at home, 41 on the road. So the road ones are essentially a wash. You can't do anything about that. But it's incredibly likely that if you get your money as a signing bonus, that's not spread out. You make that money July 1st, you get that money, and you pay it as your home base. So for Kucherov to get all that money in a signing bonus is extra beneficial to him.
Which would have made sense. Like, so why didn't he go for a higher signing bonus?
Look, it very well could be that this was all Tampa would give him, right?
Right.
Because I'm just pulling up for the, Stamkos, the other big deal that they've done. He got all of it in signing bonus.
Right.
He has a base salary of $1 million every season, and the rest is signing bonus. So Kucherov I guess maybe that's the leverage that he used, right? Like,
maybe Drew Doughty's agent.
Very well could.
Kucherov must have had some leverage if he was signing an under market deal. Like,
oh, for sure. But that might have been the one thing that he gave. Like, okay, fine, I won't take this Stamkos all signing bonus deal. Let's find a middle ground and do half or 60%.
Do you think it matters to a team?
I think if you have to pay Steve Stamkos $8.5 million, and then Kucherov another $8.5 million in signing bonus, and then you don't play hockey that year, I think that matters. Other years it doesn't, right? But if you're having a lockout, it matters a lot.
Yeah, I guess the 1 year it matters, but
yeah, the rest of the years, like literally.
Hey, owners, maybe don't lock out players. Solves that issue. Boom, done.
Fixed it.
Next.
Yeah, no doubt. And it becomes an interesting trade piece. Not that any of these guys are being traded, but you saw that with the Ryan O'Reilly. That, they wanted to trade him before or after. It just changes value. Anyways, do we want to tell people what we're doing this summer for a segment of sorts?
Yes. I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about.
So, every summer we do a thing, right? So we've done brackets in the past. I think the last 2 summers we did brackets. Last year we did your favorite player. Was that 2 years ago, right?
That was 2 years ago. I think we did the bracket. We did a bracket last year, I think.
We did another bracket last year. I know we've done your favorite thing about hockey. There was 1 year we did favorite player. Turns out that it was just the same guy who was on the cover of NHL that year. So good news.
Yay.
We could have just gone with that guy. Side note, it was Tarasenko was everyone's favorite player. This year, we're wanting to spend some time. It's kind of like the hot seat segment that has been done in the past, right? We've kind of focused on a thing, an element. And so what we're going to be doing is every week we'll put it up on the Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast. Head over there. Every week there will be a poll made in which you can pick one of 4 teams. Those 4 teams will be voted on, and one of them will be talked about. So we put it out there this week, and we just started alphabetically. Anaheim, Arizona, Boston, and Buffalo. Joel, I have great news.
It wasn't Boston?
We do not have to talk about the Boston Bruins today.
Well, that's good. I'm hoping it's one of the teams that I know more about.
Well, here's the deal. We are talking... The Buffalo Sabres have won. No. And I know that you recently talked about the fact that you know very little about the Buffalo Sabres.
Okay, pull up their roster.
All right.
Because I'm going to start listing guys that I know.
Okay, so...
Are we ready?
Without looking.
I'm not looking.
From their active roster, you guys can play along at home. If you're a Sabres fan, this is cheating. If you're in the no, I was gonna say if you're in the same division as the Sabres, don't cheat. Joel's in the same division as the Sabres, but you don't really watch them. All right, here we go. Active players on the Sabres roster. Go.
Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
Not Evander Kane or Ryan O'Reilly.
Okay.
Kyle Okposo.
Kyle Okposo. That's 2. You've now named 2 players not on the team and 2 players on the team.
At least the 2 not on the team were former players. Like that counts
Right.
for like
it's not like you just started listing off the Leafs roster.
Yeah,
not John Tavares, not Mitch Marner.
Is this not the team that traded for Connor Sheary?
Connor Sheary, 3.
Boom. I believe his name is Rasmus Ristolainen.
That's a guy. 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh no. This is where I'm not even.
Do you want a hint?
No, I don't want any hints because I believe one of your favorite fantasy guys is still on this team.
That was the hint.
Jason Pominville.
Yeah, former crush of mine, Jason Pominville, on this team. That's 5 you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 5.
Now, I believe one of the guys that they got for Ryan O'Reilly was Patrick Berglund.
Yeah. Do you remember the other one that they got for Ryan O'Reilly? There's 2 others actually on this active roster.
Is his name Vladimir?
Yeah.
Sabaktov? I don't know how to say that guy's name.
Yeah, Vladimir Sabatka.
Where's that guy from?
I don't know. That's your game. Where do you think Vladimir? I got the last one right. I am Russia.
See, you'd think Russia, but I'm gonna go Czech.
Nailed it.
Boom.
So you're both nailing the entire roster of this team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys so far, and the place of Vladimir Sabatka. Do you remember the other guy they got in the O'Reilly trade?
No, but don't call him Brian. But I don't know his first name. McCabe, right? They have a McCabe on their team. Do they not?
Yes, they do, but not Brian.
Yeah, I don't know his. The draft pick, the number 1 draft pick, Dahlin.
Yeah, he's on the team.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a half point for Jake McCabe. So you're sitting at 8.5 points.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Oh, they have Griffin's brother.
Which
Griffin.
one?
Griffin Reinhardt.
Yeah, his brother. Which brother?
Sam.
Okay, well, because there's 2. Because Max is a player as well.
I didn't know that.
That's 9.5.
And I don't believe the Nylander brother is on this team. I believe he's
Yeah,
I think he's in the minors.
He is the much worse version. You haven't named a goaltender yet.
I was just thinking. I was like, they signed the hottest UFA goalie, Carter Hutton.
The hottest UFA goalie.
the hottest UFA goalie.
All right, so
did they
10.5? That's half this team.
Okay, I feel like I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah,
did they still have? Oh, what's the guy's name?
Also, side note: this will not be the segment every week. It won't just be name the entire roster. Just vote which team you think we should name the entire roster of.
Well, I feel like there's very few teams that we could actually do this with.
Yeah, as we go through the summer, like Chicago Blackhawks, name them all. Oh, okay, that's easier.
Is that American kid? What's his name? Is he on this roster?
American. Yeah,
the
you're right.
The World Junior.
He is. Yep.
What's the guy's name? Tim.
Nope.
There
is not a single player named Tim on this. There's one named Tage.
Forget that guy. Casey Middlestat.
There you go.
Nailed
11.5.
Okay, and then I believe they traded for Hunwick. They traded for Hunwick. I'm getting all the trades. I don't know the guys that were on this team last year, but I know all the new ones.
The new guys. All right, so that's 12.5.
Who's the guy that they traded to you to... Who's the guy they traded to the Avalanche for Ryan O'Reilly?
Well, so there's Nikita Zadorov.
It wasn't him.
The other JT Compher.
No.
And then there was the rest were picks. I do believe.
Is that really it? I don't know. I thought it wasn't the... I forget the guy. I can't remember. I think that's it. I think that's all I can do.
All right.
Am I missing anyone, like, glaring?
So, Zach Bogosian.
Zach Bogosian.
Another guy recently traded, Marco Scandella.
Right.
That's really Zemgus Girgensons, former All-Star Zemgus Girgensons.
That's who I was thinking of, but it's actually Grigorenko.
Oh,
that's
the
guy.
Mikhail Grigorenko, you are correct. He's in the K now. He's out of the NHL.
That's fair.
So there you go. So you missed a few that like maybe you could have gotten, but
Matt Molson is buried on this team.
Matt Molson is not on this roster. You could have technically said Matt Molson. If we were going through guys bought out, you could have said Christian Ehrhoff, Billy Lino, and Cody Hodgson are all guys bought out by this team. So those are all guys cashing a paycheck courtesy the Buffalo Sabres.
So basically what we're doing, like, is this a little similar, like kind of a little like Elimination Station-ish here? We're just kind of like
we're not talking about like what they need to do, because that was the point of Elimination Station, right? It's like, how does this team get back into the playoffs? Because some of these guys, if Anaheim had a won, we'd be talking about what Anaheim can do. It's just to look at a team that we might not necessarily focus on as much. Side note, neither of our teams are going to make these polls. So, how do you feel as a Buffalo Sabres fan currently? You just drafted generational, supposedly, defenseman Rasmus Dahlin.
Mm-hmm.
You just signed Carter Hutton. Mm-hmm. You have Jack Eichel. Mm-hmm. On a scale of Arizona Coyotes to Toronto Maple Leafs, how happy are you with your team right now?
I am
flummoxed. That's what you
I don't know. I'm a Philadelphia Flyer level of happy.
Okay. I
see some light at the end of the tunnel. I am very excited that we got like a great draft pick. I'm expecting to be pretty bad again this year. But hey, we've got 3 first rounds next year potentially.
Yeah, you've got the Blues first, you've got the Sharks first, and you've got your own. Like probably Sharks a couple late firsts.
Sharks are probably going to make the playoffs, so you're going to get there first. And Blues, I would imagine they're not going to be a top 10 pick. So you're probably getting there first. Yeah. So you got some, don't screw it up. Carter Hutton's not your savior, so like you're hoping that you find a better goalie eventually. But you're probably not happy about that. It's like you don't really want Carter Hutton as your number one.
So you're looking for a goalie.
But I think you're optimistic, right? You got to be optimistic. You just hope Dahlin doesn't nail Yakupov, this bad boy.
Yeah, and I would suspect not. Side note, Yak back to the K. He's called it. Thank you for your season with the Avalanche. It was a good 20 games. I would be cautiously optimistic as well. I think for me, what would hurt is the fact that this is like rebuild number 2. Like your first rebuild failed, and now you've like rebooted it mid rebuild, and so you have Ryan O'Reilly gone, you have Evander Kane gone, you have these pieces that you thought would be the future no longer there. But I like what they've done. Sure, it may look like you're still a couple of years out, because you thought that Robin Lehner was going to be your goaltender. he wasn't. You thought that Ryan O'Reilly was going to be your number 1/2 center, right? With Jack Eichel there as well.
Which he was.
Right. But
he just didn't like him, apparently. Or he didn't like them? Is it that way?
I think he didn't like them, yeah. It's not them, it's him. Sam Reinhart hasn't become a thing. I guess he had a breakout-ish year this year. So he might still become a thing.
He's doing better than the other Sam of that draft.
Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a guy who is not good. I remember watching Sam Reinhart in the playoffs because I believe he played with Kootenay.
He did.
I remember watching him and just at that time, this was his draft year. Was it his draft year? I believe it was his draft year. And he was next level on the ice. Obviously, Kootenay beat the Hitmen, and it was phenomenal watching him and to see how he has transitioned to the NHL. I like the fact that he put up 25 goals this year, because up until this point he was not anything to be excited about. And watching him beforehand, it was like he was one of those few players that steps on the ice, and you can see he draws the attention to him. He can get out of trouble. He can make he makes everyone around him better because he has so much attention on himself. Obviously, at the junior level, that's a lot easier than at the NHL level. But that skill that he showed there, and I know maturity is like a word that gets thrown around a lot with prospects, but he acted like a guy who was not 18 years old on the ice.
But I'm not saying he had a bad year, but he's actually hasn't had that bad of a career so far. You said this was his breakout season, but it was only 3 points more than last season. He had 50, 47, and 42. It's not like he's been non-existent. You're happy. If he puts up 25 goals, you're happy. You kind of were hoping for more from him, but
I was gonna say, is it that my expectations were too high with where he got drafted? Then is that what my issue is?
That's probably what it is. His first year, he scored 23 goals.
And apparently, I want more of my second overall draft pick.
Which I think you do want more than that. But now you're if he's going to put up 20 to 25 goals, I'm happy with that. Because that's basically what he's done. 17 last year, 25 this year, 23 his first. He's an NHL player. He's good. He's not great, but he's good.
Yeah, and I guess maybe what I wanted was great, which seems
great. And he might be
reasonable. That. He could still become that at 3 years into his career. I think it's a little early to say he won't, but maybe I'm too hard on Sam.
You might be a little. I think the biggest thing is that he got sent back to Kootenay that year. Probably shouldn't have. Probably should have spent that year in the NHL his first season, because so technically his first year he played 9 games and got 1 point.
Okay, yeah, I don't count that year.
So, but I don't know. So maybe and that's where this cautious optimism for the Sabres happen. You have a guy like him that could be he could take a bit of another. I don't think he's ever going to be that guy that everyone thought he was going to be, but he could take another step from where he was this past year. And then you have some really Casey Middlestat, Jack Eichel. Maybe you hope that John Tavares isn't amazing and great and just one of the best players ever, and Kyle Okposo can actually score some goals away from John Tavares.
You mean? Oh yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
So I just wanted to. We hadn't talked about Tavares much yet.
This is the third time he's been mentioned this episode.
It's probably only the first by me. I think you mentioned him the first 2 times. Anyways,
as you were.
I just Ristolainen. Is he ever going to be as good as people want? He feels a little Sam Reinhart-ish, maybe a little bit better, but people keep on wanting him to be better, but he's just not for some reason. So these guys,
I feel like Buffalo fans somehow hate him more than everyone else. I would love a Rasmus Ristolainen on my team, and I feel like everyone should. Like, if that's a guy who, for some reason, Buffalo decides that they're done with, which they haven't and they shouldn't, everyone should want that.
So they just have a lot of young guys who could potentially be good, but don't expect it this year, I don't think, right? Like,
yeah, and that's what's disappointing. They would have to take a significant jump. Carter Hutton would have to be quite good. The biggest drawback for this team is that they, the goaltending at this point, there's no one immediately available to step in, which is why they had to go out and pick up Hutton, right? Looking into the future, goaltending is such a hard thing to project. You can have the greatest goaltending prospects and they become nothing. You can have terrible ones and they become good. So,
and the other thing is like, I think if you're not one of Toronto, Boston, or Tampa, you're not even playing for the division. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's like, obviously anything can happen. But, like, on paper going into the season, is anyone taking one of those playoff spots from those three?
No, on paper it's those three, and then you might sneak in as a wild card. What's great is the rest of this division is also trash, right? When you're in a division with the Panthers, who had a bounce back second half of the season, sure. The Senators, terrible. Montreal,
terrible.
Got worse.
Yeah.
And Detroit, who are trying to dismantle their team so they can rebuild. Like, you have four teams also worse than you. So could Buffalo be the fourth best team in this division? It's very plausible.
It's them or Florida. It's like that's the thing. I do think this team is better. Like, this team, when you compare to Montreal or Ottawa, you are much more happy than Montreal or Ottawa.
Yes, for sure. You might
Detroit.
You might not be better than them this year, but you're set up better for the future.
And you have Jack Eichel. I don't think Jack Eichel's as good as some people think Jack Eichel is.
Especially as much as Jack Eichel thinks.
Yes. But he is he is a guy that is at the top of the list. If you were doing a fantasy draft to start your franchise, like not like fantasy sports, but like you just throw everyone in the pool. Jack Eichel's probably a top 10 pick, top 15.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you knock off the McDavids, the Matthews, the Laine. I don't know who else is in that conversation. Hedman's probably in that conversation right now. Like, and then he's probably going to be in that mix of, do we take a young guy or do we go with a Crosby or a Stamkos or a Tavares? Like, he's probably in that, but he's a really, really good player, franchise player. So you're like, I wouldn't be sad about being a Buffalo Sabres fan, but I would be like 2 or 3 years from now. That's what I would be looking forward to. 2 or 3 years from now.
You wait 2 to 3 years from now, Boston will pull back. They can't keep. They will continue to age. Sure, they've got some young guys, but to me, I think unless they can find something, like, they'll go as far as Tuukka Rask can take them. So there you go. That's the Buffalo Sabres. This is our new summer hot seat segment.
So who are the 4 teams in the poll? So there's going to be a poll on Twitter sometime this week.
Yeah, we'll put it up tomorrow, or tonight probably. We'll put it up tonight, and we'll leave it up for the week. So if you listen to this on Wednesday and you're saying, "Hey, I want to vote on this poll," you can just go do it. It'll be on our Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast. It looks like alphabetically, which is the way we're doing it. It will be Carolina, Calgary, Chicago, and Columbus, I believe, are the 4 teams.
There you go.
So any of those, any hopes that do you want to talk Canes, Jackets?
I'm not
Flames?
saying anything because I know our listeners, I know they will vote against my wishes.
Maybe. Our listeners are well aware that we would not enjoy talking about the Boston Bruins. And Boston finished a solid 3rd in this poll.
Nobody likes Boston, though. Like, that's the difference. Like, there's everyone hates Boston just as much as we do.
That is a fact.
I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind a deep dive into Calgary.
Yeah, like, that could be.
They've had quite the off season.
They've had a lot of just they've been busy.
They've been busy. Chicago will be boring. Like, we can talk about them, but that's going to be boring. It's going to be like, wow, they're old and getting really bad. Sorry, Chicago.
Let's talk about Chicago. Don't sign Brent Seabrook. There you go. That's that. That's still regrettable.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Well, so vote on Twitter, and we'll talk about one of these teams. Much like we probably just won't list players, like Carl said, because I think I probably know those 4 teams much better than I knew.
I am actually incredibly impressed. I have no way to confirm that you were not looking at a roster, but I'm going to take your word that you did not. 12.5 is very impressive.
If they hadn't made as many moves as they did this offseason, it would have been much less.
Yeah, if we were to redo that, even now, I would probably come in at approximately, like, I would not have gotten Jake or McCabe. I wouldn't have gotten that half point for sure. Yeah, I think you did better than I would have. So.
I don't think so, but maybe.
There's no way to know now. So as we wrap up the show, head over to Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast. You can do that. The Alberta Podcast Network, as always, has a ton happening, including a new segment on CBC Calgary. You may have heard of this small network called CBC. One of the founders of the network, Karen Unland, is going to be doing a segment on CBC Calgary's drive home show called The Home Stretch at about 3:35 p.m. a couple times throughout the summer. So July 23rd, tune into CBC Calgary. You'll be able to hear her talking about podcasts on The Home Stretch. Just another way that there's a ton happening. If you want to know more about certain events that are happening in and around Alberta, you can go to albertapodcastnetwork.com/events for some of the great shows, the ever-expanding roster of shows on the Alberta Podcast Network. Head over to albertapodcastnetwork.com and check those out. We're on the Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast, facebook.com/the Fourth Line Podcast, thefourthlinepodcast.com. Lots of great stuff over there. You can tune in there. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there for you. And if you listen and we're not there, let us know and we will fix it because we can. Until next week.
I just wanted to talk before we just finish this off. Can we talk a little baseball?
Let's do it. Yeah.
How do you feel about this? The trade talks of all comparatively to hockey, let's say, because we're coming up to the trade deadline in baseball. I feel like baseball does trades really well.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I get excited during trade deadline, during baseball, because I know that there's going to be some big deals. I
don't think there's going to be many big deals though. It's going to be Manny. It's going to be some pitchers moving.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think it's going to be more exciting than the NHL trade deadline.
Here's what the fact with baseball is that, and it makes it both good and bad. The amount of teams that make the playoffs is obviously much smaller in baseball. So there's less teams in it. So more teams are willing to make moves to move pieces. But there's also less teams looking to trade prospects. So to me, it's the big guys like Manny Machado. You're probably going to get a future franchise player, or you should, unless you're very bad at your job as their general manager. You should get a future franchise player. But after that, the prospect pool drops off significantly. And maybe that's just the way that trades should be, that you shouldn't get, 7 first-round picks shouldn't be traded at a deadline because not everyone's worth that. But that's my thoughts on how the deadline goes. I am excited to see where Manny Machado goes. I hope he goes to the Dodgers because I do not want him to go to the Yankees. That is the only reason that I want him to go to the Dodgers. or anywhere, as long as it's not the Yankees, anywhere but the Yankees.
Right. Does the Yankees Red Sox thing fascinates me this year, because like you can have two teams with over 100 wins in a division, and one of them has a 50% chance of not even making the playoffs.
Yeah, one of them has to do a play-in game.
It's crazy. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm usually fascinated by the baseball season and just like the storylines, but I feel like I'm extra fascinated this year. It's probably because my team's good for the first time in a long time.
Because you're in the race for a guy?
It's like 2009. This is like the first time I'm like, oh, like look at my team. It's doing things. They're winning games. This is great. Except Sonny Gray's pitching right now, and that makes me sad. But
yeah,
I don't know. That's it. I'm assuming no one's really listening at this point, anyways, because literally they're probably just like oh, he's about to say Boom City.
Yeah, I thought you were saying Boom City.
Well, I didn't. Now we're talking. This is extras.
This is baseball talk with Carl and Joel.
That's all. I was just interested on your take on baseball trade deadline versus NHL.
Who do you think's going to win the World Series this year? Who's your favorite? Who do you like?
Astros. Astros are really good. Their pitching is ridiculous.
Can we talk about, I know, again, we're not stopping this show
They're
now.
Super cheating.
Can we talk about the way that they're 100% cheating and no one seems to care?
I don't get that. Like, they're 100% cheating. Like, so, like, I get it. Like, I know that, like, you're the fancy stats guy. But, like, when it comes to baseball, like, I understand all, like, most of the stats, like, including, like, fancy stats. So, like, spin rate and how pitchers are able to throw and, like, how it spins. Like, this is all stuff that, like, I read about, I'm interested in, I understand. And, like, so, like, when Justin Verlander is, like, 42 years old and gets traded to a new team and all of a sudden his spin rate jumps and, like, it's, like, there's, like, it's science that says you can't just do that without using some sort of substance or enhancement. And, like, nobody cares.
At all, apparently.
At all. Like, because unless everyone's waiting for the playoffs and they're just going to, like, bust them in the playoffs.
Well, and so there's that side of it, but then there's also the side that, like, it's not just Verlander. Garrett Cole
all of them.
Also improved his spin rate going to Houston. I could see if it's one person. I'm like, oh, like, maybe the pitcher, like, the coaching staff found something with Verlander or whatever, right? They were like, hey, here's this thing. Or, like, I don't know, maybe it's like the difference in humidity. Like, Houston's more humid than Detroit is, which is probably true. And so, like, he can get a better grip. I don't know. But when everyone does it, 100% they're cheating. I cannot get past the fact that this is a thing. Someone is tampering with balls in Houston. You heard it here first, folks. I hope now I hope people stuck around.
Because
for our favorite joint conspiracy theory.
It has to, like, it just blows my mind. I don't understand how this works, but, like, they're 100% cheating, except nobody's, like, clued Dallas Keuchel into this. Like, there's just, like, no one's told Dallas Keuchel that everyone's cheating. He's just like, guys, like, why is everyone doing so well? It's like,
He's just dumbfounded.
Like, even guys, I don't even know, it's like, what is it, Lance McCullers and, like, McHughes? I don't know who they're for. Like, these guys are pitching unreal, and you're just like, Charlie Morton? Are you kidding me? I don't get it. It's crazy. They're cheating, and I don't like it. I think Boston's cheating.
Probably. I don't know how, but they probably are. The other guy, they sent their closer down today. Did you see that?
I did see that. Yeah. He yelled at the manager yesterday.
Yeah, that'll get you demoted. Which, like, to be fair, he hasn't had a good year, so he also should learn how to cheat. Get better, Ken Giles.
Yeah, I don't know. That's hilarious. But they're all cheaters, and I hate them all.
You know,
How do you feel about Jose Bautista playing for the Mets?
I don't care.
It's weird, hey? You don't think it's weird?
It's a little weird. Like,
he's literally the greatest player of your fandom for the Blue Jays.
I guess like the longest term, because like I look back and I'm like, I can name a bunch of people that I enjoy. Like Delgado to me surpasses Jose,
but he never. But he didn't win for you guys. Jose was around when you guys were winning.
Yeah, so it's a little weird. Because he returned to Toronto for the first time as not a J. And I just assumed that his career would be done. Who knew the Mets were so desperate for people that they'd toss Jose Bautista out there? But he's the exact same guy he was last year. He has a ridiculous on-base percentage compared to his batting average. I think he's his on-base is 340 and he's hitting 220. Maybe just throw the guy a pitch. He's not going to do anything with it.
It's crazy how much Jose was loved and now how much he's hated.
He's still loved by a lot of the fan base.
But there's a lot of the fan base that hates him though too.
It's very true.
It's so bizarre because he could do no wrong, even though I just don't get the thing I don't get is how teams just weren't hey, let's just throw him an inside fastball. Let's do it. Guy couldn't hit an inside fastball if it saved his life. But no one threw him inside fastballs. I don't get it.
Well, Joel, it's one of those things. That would be an interesting conversation for a future summer episode, is fan bases that turn on a player.
I like this. We're going to do that.
We're doing that because there's very few instances. I get the fact if someone does something off the field, right? But just someone who overstays their welcome, you rarely see that.
Especially when they're good. You see it lots of times when they're bad.
Okay, very true. But the franchise player overstays their welcome.
Or a fan favorite overstays his welcome. Like that. Yeah.
Stay tuned next week. We're talking about that.
I'm excited about that conversation.
Next week is it might be a line next week. So we might have to preface something with Tiny. This is happening, folks.
What did you just do? What did you just do? You take it back. Everyone knows what you just did because you have edited that part out.
Yeah, that's right. Anyways,
from all of us at the Fourth Line Podcast, you can get us on Twitter, you can get us on Pinterest, you can get us on, you know where to find us. We love the Alberta Podcast Network. Boom City.